had mentioned that one of the reasons why Father left Oakley and moved to Pocatello was two counselors, the Bishop Forrest Sevier, his father, and a Hale. And when the lights went out at our house, this Hale would take the water, and it's very scarce, and water his field. And so Father and I went up. I was little, very little, and the place is up here, and our one piece is up here, and the other one was right down here, and the house over here. And so we'd take the wastewater off of this piece up here and utilize it on this other piece down by the house. Well, Father and I caught him. And he was a counselor to Bishop Sevier, and Father was the other counselor. And he said, I can plainly see the only way that we can solve this problem is to move from Oakley to Pocatello. And it was a blessing in disguise. We moved to Pocatello and got some Guernsey cows, and I'll just make one statement. I picked up a check from the Hotel Bannock for $1,400 for milk, jills, and cream. That was just one customer. Well, it kept all of us fellows busy, so we didn't get into mischief because we all had a job. The minute we walked in the front door, Mother would say, when we got off the bus, Mother would say, all right, boys, down and change your clothes and get out and milk those cows. And so we were so busy working and doing things like that when we'd come in to study our lessons, why pretty quickly we'd start going like this. Mother said, boys, you did well, go down and go to bed. Was that right?
How many cows did you milk, McClure?
Oh, let's see, we ran two runs in on both sides. I'd say there was, what did you say, Dave, 15? Around
15 cows.
Well, there's 15 cows, but there's no
That's about 30 cows.
We had 15 stalls, but we'd have two.
Yeah, that's right. We'd run them in twice, so that'd be about
Fill a barn
30.
twice.
30 cows to milk that day.
And with Heward's children were getting in trouble, and so they set their children up for fun and mother to rear, keep them out of mischief. So it worked out beautifully all the way around. David and Winston can add what they want.
We're going to let them review it on. This is our family reunion 1988 August here in Caseville, Utah. What is today? 19th. August 19th. And we're thrilled to have Uncle Winston, Uncle Arthur, Uncle David with us, and they're going to reminisce a little bit. And thank you, Uncle Arthur. And feel free to pitch in and help each other out here. Not going to move.
Winston, you're the oldest, so go
How
ahead.
did we get started in the dairy business?
Well, when we moved from Oakley, Father wanted to set up an orange business with Nielsen. So Father rented a stand downtown in Pocatello and set up an orange drink business, and then he branched out into candy, and Mother helped make the candy to sell at this stand. But when we moved from Oakley, we also bought in a cow or two, and in a trailer behind a big truck.
Nobody
Well,
would
at least
buy
it was big to me.
No one would buy it because of what it was.
And so
Old Bolly was her name.
Yeah,
I remember.
when
Old
the cow
Bolly.
came fresh, why we had extra milk because we drank a lot of milk, but we couldn't keep up with the cow when she was fresh. So Mother would go around to the neighbors and sell the milk. Well, when the cow got dry, why we needed another cow because we still had to have some milk to drink. So we got two cows, and then we had to sell more milk. And by the time we moved out onto the farm, why we had 3 cows and was selling milk, and we had an old Model T. black Model T, and we used to start a little milk route down in Alameda, delivering milk to these people.
Took the back seat out of the
Yeah.
old Model T.
And this was the beginning of the dairy business. Pocatello. And anyway, we had a lot of fun milking cows. I know one time I was milking on one side and Adrian was milking on the other side. And I was milking Spot, who was a big Holstein cow. And she could kick with a wham. And I was milking along, and all of a sudden I saw Adrian sailing through the air with a bucket in his knee. And he didn't spill any milk till he hit the side of the barn. And then when he got out, I was laughing so hard, he accused me of pinching the cow to make her kick. Well, we had a lot of fun on the farm. One time, Farrell told Adrian to bring Bess, which was our biggest horse, and hook her up to a trailer, rubber trailer, wagon trailer, and haul the trailer down in the middle of the field. Well, and to ride Bess, and I said, well, that's a crazy idea.
I saw that.
That was a crazy idea. And so I tried to get Adrian on the horse, but he wouldn't go. So I got on the horse. Then Adrian, she was trembling, and I knew I was in for trouble, but Adrian said, jabbed her in the ribs and says, get up. The way she went, she was straight in the air. I stuck her for about 3 jumps, and then over her head I went. And as soon as I lit, I rolled because I could see her, she's coming right down on me. But anyway, she went bucking out through the field and finally got loose of that trailer. It bumped her heels there almost every jump. And ran back with her ears bent back to the barn. She trembled in the barn for an hour, and I trembled out on the field for an hour.
Trembling experience.
We had a lot of close calls. And one time Star ran away with a wagon.
Yeah, ran up on
She's
him.
our stallion.
Yeah.
Hey, Roger.
The rack, every time you jump, why the rack would hit him in the rear end.
Then
Just
they
like
keep
that.
going.
Oh,
And that just kept him going, you know.
he ran 2 or 3 times after
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
But he was
afraid.
He was
Went on.
sure.
Quite a while.
We had a little pinto stallion too that we used to work, and he was kind of a little wild little beast. Anyway, I was coming home with a couple of other horses. We had 3 horses, and I got tired. It was about a couple of miles, so I wanted to ride, so I got up on that little pinto stallion, and I was controlling him and these other 2 horses at the same time. And that stallion just kept going faster, and I had to keep the other horses going faster. The time we got home, we were on the dead run.
Yes.
But we headed into the hut, and they ran right up to the barn, and then all of a sudden they stopped, so no problem.
It's interesting how every animal had its own personality. All their own characteristic. I remember I did quite a bit of the herding, cows. And we'd have them out on the road, because there's a lot of feed along the side of the road. And this one cow, old Floss, you remember the Floss? She was one smart cow. And she could tell when I was not paying attention. If I sit down or lay down and take a little rest, she knew it. And she'd start taking off. I don't know where she was going, but she just wanted to go. And pretty soon I'd look up and all the cows were half-mile down the road. And I'd run down there and holler at her, and she knew what she did. She was the lead of the cow. As soon as I'd holler, she'd stop, put her head right to the ground, act like she was eating. And if I stayed there and watched her, then she'd have to eat. But if I, sit down and relax again, off she'd go. So all I had to do was holler, and she knew exactly what I meant. She'd stop. Talk about a cow that was nervous. Remember Brindle? Bryn? She was really quite a temperamental cow, but she was. I remember we started milking her and we didn't know how to handle her, and we'd put hobbles on her and she'd just go crazy. Well, we learned that we couldn't hobble her. We just had to learn to treat her gently and let her know when we, came in to milk her. But if you surprised her, she'd cut loose. And I remember I was milking a cow just to the side of her, milking away, and I had to reach back for a handkerchief or something, and I touched her flag. Wham! Caught me and just sailed me right across. Milk went splattering all over her.
Talking about,
That was my fault.
talking about sailing across. There's a kid from the city that came out with us on the place where we were herding the cows. And a good horse, when a cow will run fast like this and it'll stop and it'll turn. And a good cow horse will stop and turn right with that cow. And this kid wanted to go get this cow that had a calf on and was headed for home. And he says, "Let me take old Barney and turn that cow back." I says, "Okay." So I gave him a leg up onto the horse. And that cow just go like this and stop and turn. And old Barney stopped and turned, and he just went flying out the same right.
He just kept right on going.
Yeah, he just kept right on going.
Remember that old strawberry roan horse?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, he racked a bit in his
He was
teeth,
powerful.
and away he would go. I got on him one time, and I held his head right against his chest there for a while. But the horses got out, and it was over in Okimura's, across the road over into their gardens, Japanese gardens. So I had to let him go to catch those horses. Man, he took off. Do you think I could get that head back under his chest? No way. He just took off. It took a mile before I could get his
Till he ran out of wind.
Man.
Oh, I was never so scared in my life, though, as when we were taking the dry stuff out to the Fort Hall reservation and it's pasture. We had about 20 or 25 head, and I was on Old Duke, and just behind the cows and very gently walking. And Elma Exeter was with us, going out with us. And she had to ride this horse. And she kept begging to ride that horse. Well, I thought, he's calmed down and he'll be all right just riding behind the cows. No problem. So I let her get on. I got in the car and was following along. And just as soon as she got going, that horse, Old Duke, made his way through those cows. He knew that he had a stranger on his back and didn't know what she was doing. And the Old Duke went through the cows and got out and took off.
Well, he could run too.
Oh, I just scared me to death, and I made my way through the cows and got enough ahead of him that I thought, I'd have time to stop and get out and get over in front of him and head him off stop. Well, I got out, just as I got over to him, he right past me. Lickety split down the road, and the time I got back into the car and took off, well, he was way down there, and there was a lane. Well, the road took a bend like this, and there was a lane that went down into a home, you know, a farm. And when Duke made that fast turn, she fell off. She fell off the saddle, but she caught her leg in the lasso rope. There she was, hanging on the horn on the side of the horse, just running pell-mell with her leg caught in that rope, going right down, and he went right down along a barbed wire fence, and came so close to that fence that it snagged her dress, but didn't touch her.
Oh.
She had an angel.
And finally he came to a stop.
Oh. Heart failure.
I tell you, I was just trembling.
How old was she?
Well, she was about 18, 19.
You were trembling.
I was
She
always.
was terrified.
She took a month to get over that.
That could have been
She had her ride.
I bet she never asked me,
Oh, she
right?
never had her ride. Oh,
As long as you held a tight rein, you controlled him, he could do what he wanted.
But
That's right.
he knew when someone was on him that knew what they were doing. And
Yeah.
if they didn't, he had control.
Yeah.
And he took off.
He was a beautiful horse.
My father was off that wagon just like that and right on his head. And he held old Prince down there for a good hour. And old Prince couldn't get up. And he just sat right on his head. And by the time Father got off, well, that horse came up and you never saw a better mannered horse in your life than old Prince after
It
that.
turned out to be a real good horse.
The father knew just what to do.
Oh, Queen of the, she was well named, I think.
Yeah.
She was a queen of the horses.
You can depend
She
on
was
her
the first
for anything you
horse.
want.
Black.
She was the first horse I'd ever ridden. I remember when Father bought her, went out to, near Fort Hall or someplace, and she had her harness on, and he led her behind the car, and I got to ride her. And I held on to those old hames and rode that horse all the way home. I was only 6 years old.
I was
And
gonna say, that was
that
pretty
was,
weird.
she was a big, beautiful black mare, and she was the mother of most of our horses that we raised. Old Buck and Bali and Star and one other. There was about 4 great horses that she mothered them.
Well, Star would have been a real good horse if he hadn't had that crooked.
Yeah,
He
Star broke his
got into
leg.
the postal, didn't he?
He broke it, and Father said it, but I think he took the splints off a little too soon. And it just turned out.
I took him on into the barn, and I came back out, and that blooming bull was right there at the door at the gate. And he was not one of our mean bulls. He was quite a gentle bull. But as I came out, he was just standing right there. I had to come right by him. And quite often, an animal was watching me like that, while I'll jump at him.
Oh,
To watch him jump,
Oh.
sounds like that.
So as I came by, him, I jumped at him. He didn't jump. So as I got on by, I looked back. I just glanced back. Something told me to look. I glanced back just as his flank tightened.
Oh, boy.
I knew
That
he was
is
going
fun.
on my heels. I had gum rubber boots on.
Oh, boy.
Slippery corral. And he caught me at the pass. I couldn't go back into the barn.
Oh,
And I had to run clear across that corral.
Oh, dear.
I could hear him just.
That's a fastest thing we've ever run.
It was like
I went across.
And the bull fence, the bull fence crossed the, I ran across there and hit that pole fence and just grabbed it, and just as I grabbed it, he hit me right on the backside.
Pushed you over.
Lifted me right up over.
Yes. Great movie scene.
Remember when George Curzon?
I bet you didn't jump him
Broken
anymore.
wrist.
Yeah, Curzon.
He came over with a wagon